Hey everybody, I'm Roo-ray, this is Kiki, and today we are heading to the Sanctuari de Lluc for Sunday Mass. As you do, I mean, we do this weekly, we go to Sunday Mass, don't we? Religiously. Absolutely. The plan is to head up there because they've got this very famous choir here called Els Blauets. I think that's my Catalan pronunciation on point there. That starts around 11, it's about 10ish now. We're just arriving in the town of Lluc, and a bit further up is the Monastery of Lluc, which has been there since the 13th century. And do you know the story, Kiki?
I don't know anything.
Unlike my girlfriend here, who is a Philistine and completely uncultured, I have been on Google about 15 minutes ago, so I know everything about Lluc Monastery. The legend goes that in the 13th century, a young shepherd called Lluc found a statue of the Virgin Mary in a stream.
Wow.
In these parts. He then delivered it to a nearby church for safekeeping, but it vanished, only to reappear the very next day back in the stream where he found it. Everyone took this as a divine sign, so they built the Lluc Monastery on the site of where this little statue was found and then reappeared. So join us for this trip and hopefully you enjoy it.
We're almost there.
We are.
Located 50 kilometres north of Mallorca's capital in the breathtaking Tramuntana Mountains, Lluc Sanctuary sits 525 metres above sea level in a lush valley visited by pilgrims since Roman times. Today, the impressive estate sees thousands of spiritual and secular visitors each year, attracted not only by the historic basilica and its blackened Madonna and Child statue, but also by Mallorca's renowned hiking and biking routes, many of which start in the area. Lluc Sanctuary has been receiving guests for hundreds of years, and you too can stay in one of the Spartan but extremely comfortable and well-kept rooms or apartments. There are also several on-site bars and restaurants where you can enjoy traditional Mallorquin food before hitting the hay, which, unlike 400 years ago, will be a mattress and not actual hay.
It's cold, eh?
So we've arrived. What was the drive like?
Windy, sorry.
It was windy and windy. Which direction are we going? The bells a minute ago were ringing, so we're going to sort of go in the general direction of that. And now we're going to go and worship at the altar of this famous monastery.
Entering the church, there didn't appear to be much sign of the famous choir, but these kids are stars around here, so I assumed they were just probably in hair and makeup. After collecting my hymn sheet, which I'd promptly have to Google Translate, I took my pew to ponder how Els Blauets would make their grand entrance. Perhaps they'd be lured in through the spectacular dome on wires like angels.
No choir.
I don't know. There doesn't seem to be any choir.
Glorious. Well, that was a bit of a washout as far as the choir goes. There was no choir. I do know that the choir often go off on tour, and they're like pretty famous. But yeah, it's not gonna happen for us today. We just had to sit through Mass, which I haven't done since I was at school. And if I felt that Mass was kind of a sleepy affair back in the 90s, it's certainly even more sleepy when it's in a language that you do not understand whatsoever.
I was falling asleep. I was struggling to stay awake.
Feeling that kind of sluggishness that can only be induced by long church services, we grabbed our bags and checked into our lodgings for the night, deep in the belly of the sanctuary. Rooms here are simple and cheap. Our double came in at €25 per person on a weekend during the low season.
Yeah. Oh no! Look at the view. Oh, it's beautiful.
The fact that it is a monastery means we've got a basic room. That's the deal here. People have been staying here for hundreds of years, and so are we. We're here now. And to keep us safe at night, we've got Mary and baby Jesus overlooking the bed, just to make sure that no funny business happens. Before lunch, we're just taking a hike up to the cross, which is right atop the peak above the sanctuary. So this should really help us to work up an appetite for what are we eating today? Do we know?
I hope we can get some cochinillo.
Cochinillo, which is
Suckling pig.
suckling pig. Very, very famous here in Mallorca. A real speciality of the island. It's just got really, really windy up here. We've climbed 5 meters higher than we were before, and all of a sudden we're in gale force winds. Something spiritual's happening. It wasn't this windy until we arrived. It's windy, eh? You probably can't hear me on the microphone, but really windy. Out of nowhere, as if ordained by God. It's kind of amazing, but the view's incredible, no?
Of the Tramuntana, it's something else.
We don't really think much of the cross though. The cross is pretty ugly. Rusted, and it's got this barbed wire around it. But the sentiment is there. We're a bit drunk now. We've had lunch. 2 empty plates. Very good. You had, what did you have?
Cabrito.
Cabrito, like a little mountain goat.
It was amazing, but I'm stuffed as
What did I have? I had the
lamb.
The lamb. I had the lamb. Very, very succulent. And we started the meal with. Did I even film that? We started the meal with some alioli, which is it's kind of standard procedure here, with some bread, and we've drank almost a full bottle of wine.
Have a piña.
Tell me, what do you want? What do you want?
I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want.
Piña.
Piña.
Right. So,
get in there.
So I'll see you guys outside.
At the end of the bottle.
At the end of the bottle. What's in your teeth? Someone's in Kiki's teeth.
I think my teeth are like darker, no? because of the wine. I've just noticed.
There we go.
Oh,
She's
that's
got
so full.
she's got grey teeth, the old grey teeth, like Cruella de Vil.
I need to brush my teeth.
Vale, yeah, I probably need to brush my teeth too. Anyway, we'll see you outside the restaurant now.
Okay.
What's up?
Sorry.
No, it's all right. We're outside the restaurant now. A bit liquored up. I'm feeling a bit pissed actually.
I got my sunglasses on just to disguise.
There we go. She's a professional. Well, you're going to go and have a nap.
Oh, yes.
Kiki's off for a nap, but because I am a committed filmographer, cinematographer, I'm going to go and take the camera out and show you some beautiful shots like these. With Kiki in bed and me full of gusto, I am heading past these medieval stables here, which have been here for hundreds and hundreds of years, on the way to the Botanical Garden. I'm very keen to see what kind of herbal delights they've got in store that I may never have seen before. So this botanical garden was laid out in the 1950s, and it was originally just for religious people, for monks and so forth, people visiting from the clergy. Nowadays you can see about 200 different varieties of plants and flowers from Baleares, from the region, and they even extended this in about where am I going? Not that way. They even extended this in 2009 to include plants and species from the Iberian Peninsula. So it's a great place to come if you're into that kind of stuff. And if you're not, it doesn't matter. It's extremely serene. I mean, there's nobody around right now, and it's just a place to decompress and to really fill your centre. I don't know if that's a thing to do, fill your centre. It sounds a bit rude. I've enjoyed it here, and I think it would be a place that I would like to come with a sandwich and just, you know, just be at one.
After my brush with nature, I woke Kiki and with a gun to the head forced her to come downstairs to the Sanctuary's very own restaurant to eat and drink more. This time we'd enjoy a snacky dinner of jamon and cheese with mandatory red wine, and all this safe in the knowledge that we had an emergency bottle of red stashed in the room. Oh yeah, and I'd still have to make my bed, with its weirdly square sheets and frustrating pillowcases with a hole at each end.
Good morning, everybody. A pretty good sleep in the sanctuary last night, despite having had way too much to drink. Word to the wise, you've got to make your own bed here, okay? Don't leave it to the last minute. We do have one thing to check out here at the sanctuary, which we didn't last time. We didn't go to the small side chapel where the actual statue of the Virgin Mary and Jesus is located. So let's go and check that out after a café con leche, which I seriously need because otherwise I can't function.
So off downstairs it was and back to the scene of last night's excesses for a much needed caffeine hit. It had only dawned on me this morning that we hadn't even seen the Madonna and Child statue, the whole reason this place was built in the first place. But better last minute than not at all.
Well, we're here in the little side chapel, but this is home to these two fellas, the original statue that was found in the stream in 1300 and whatever. It's actually quite a lot bigger than I thought it would be. It's about 2 feet tall. What's that in centimetres? I'm not sure. If you look closely though, you will see that, as is often the case when baby Jesus is portrayed in a certain era, he's really ugly. Not a good looking baby Jesus. He looks like a wee old man. In actual fact, I don't know how many of you are familiar with British political history, but he looks a wee bit like Arthur Scargill. Folks, that's about all we've got for today. If you enjoyed this video, click like and subscribe. It's free, it's not Disney Plus. Click subscribe, it just means you support the channel. Also, hit that top bell icon that appears. That just means you'll be notified when I post a new video. I hope you've enjoyed this video once again, and catch you later. We had some Mallorquin ron, as they say here, which is really blows your actual face off because, I don't know, I just need to go to bed.